12th board meeting. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open forum.
Call the roll.
Roll call. That's not on the agenda.
Yeah, I put it on there, Madam Chair. Commissioner Coring,
Here.
Commissioner Lubke,
Here.
Commissioner Barrows,
Here.
Commissioner Franzine,
Here.
Commissioner Hoag.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, now open forum.
I don't have any sheets turned in.
All right. Is there anyone who didn't fill out a sheet who wants to speak to something that isn't on the agenda? Okay, thank you. Review and approval of the minutes from November 28th.
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Hoag. All those in favor?
Commissioner Coring,
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke,
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag,
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine.
Aye. Review and approve the agenda. Any additions?
No changes.
Madam Chair, we were going to move the closed session to the end of the
yes.
agenda after the public hearing for the budget. So that way we don't have to have people go out in the hall and wait.
Okay.
It'll be at the end.
Okay.
Thank you.
Move the agenda with that change.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hoag, second by Commissioner Barrows. All those in favor?
Commissioner Lubke,
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag,
Aye.
Commissioner Coring,
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine.
Aye. Consent agenda.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Coring.
a couple questions, if I may, and I apologize for asking maybe silly questions, but if you looked at the agenda, it's like almost 400 pages, so I know we used to be a little bit critical at one point of out-of-state travel, and I don't think we are as much anymore. But just a question on out-of-state travel on 5.8. Can somebody explain to me, if they can explain to me what that's going to be for, and if they're going to come back and train the other people in the department?
Thank you, Jason.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Commissioner Coring, the out-of-state travel is for a Microsoft 365 conference. At that conference, there's going to be 150 different speakers and sessions that Brian Olson will be able to attend. What he'll do is he'll go to those conferences, as many as he can, and bring back any of that literature to implement throughout the county or to the fellow employees throughout the IT department, along with other departments in the county as well.
Okay, sounds good. That's it on that one, Jason. So the other one is
All right, thank you.
5.14, the amendment number 4 to the medical examiner transport service contract. Can somebody explain to me what that is?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Commissioner Coring, that is for the renewal of the medical examiner transport service. It is extending the term through December 31st of 25. The last amendment was approved on January 25th of 22, and that was a 3-year amendment. They are agreeing to continue to provide the transport service for another 2 years at the same rate. There are no other
Perfect.
changes.
That's exactly. Other changes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Madam Chair, I have no other questions on consent. If there's no other questions, I would move the adoption of the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
I will second that, Madam Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Lubke. All those in favor?
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, well, we'll go on to the 505 public hearing for the fee schedule.
Madam Chair, I would so move that we open the public hearing on the 2024 fee schedules.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Barrows to open the hearing. All those in favor?
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye. Public hearing is open.
Madam Chair, members, enclosed in your packet is a summary of the proposed changes to the fee schedules beginning January 1st of 2024. And I'm not going to read it to you because it was in your packet, but you did have a chance at the last Budget Committee to look through these, ask any questions that you may have, and I presume you've gotten answers to your questions. So tonight would be to take public comment on this list of proposed changes, if anybody has any comments for us.
Is there any questions or discussion? Okay, should we close the public hearing?
Madam Chair, if nobody has any questions, I would move to close the public hearing on fee schedules and policies.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Hoag. All those in favor?
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye. Okay, can we have a motion to adopt the fee schedule and policies?
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Hoag. All those in favor?
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye. Thank you. Land Services is up next.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. First request of the evening is a land use map amendment. The property is in Section 11, Platte Lake Township. I'm assuming Teresa, you'll just throw up a map for them so they can see it. The request is to change the land use map from RR20 to RR5. The Planning Commission Board of Adjustment met on November 16th. After considering the comments, a unanimous recommendation to the county board was approved. Staff has reviewed the application and is also recommending approval. Take any questions on this one if you have any.
Any questions, any discussion?
Madam Chair, if there are no questions, I'll make the motion to amend the official land use map for PID 86110-508 from rural residential 20 to rural residential 5 involving 40 acres.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Hoag. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. The next request is also for a land use map amendment. The properties are in Section 6 of Long Lake Township and Section 31 of Oak Lawn Township. The PIDs are included in the board packet, so many of them I won't read through those, but the request is to amend the land use map from commercial light industrial north of TC Road to RR1, which is similar to the land use that's like 278 acres there in basically the brown on the map there. I don't have the pointer. Oh, and TC Road, if you can't see it, would be right here running. So to the north, the request is to go to RR1 to the south of TC Road. Basically, that grade in, outlined in red, would turn to yellow, which is R2.5. The county updated the land use map back in 2011, and basically the owners of said properties were unaware that the property was changed to light commercial back then and is requesting a change to more of a residential use as they have no plans for commercial on the property. At the November 16th Planning Commission Board of Adjustment meeting, after considering the application, it was a unanimous recommendation to the county board to recommend approval. Staff has reviewed the file as well and supports that conclusion. I'll take any questions.
Madam Chair, if I might, Gary, in the recommended motion, it only recognizes RR1 for the 278 acres. It doesn't recognize the 2.5.
Let me check that resolution again. Sorry about that.
My mistake.
Yeah, there it is.
I
Okay.
only went way down, so
Right
I
on the bottom
apologize.
of page
Okay.
203.
So it is in there. I went clear to the bottom and.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There was a lot of stuff on this one, so I understand, Commissioner.
So, Madam Chair, if there's no questions, I would do as Gary did. I won't read all these PIDs, but I would make the motion to move this forward for the land use map amendment.
Is there a second?
Madam Chair, I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Lubke. Are there any more questions or any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. The next request this evening is to review the final plat of Kinney Shores on Kinney Lake. Hopefully, there we go. The property is Section 2 of Garrison Township, PID 67020544. The request is to create one additional lot, so just splitting this property into two. The county board did approve a preliminary plat November 14th, 2023. The final plat of Kinney Shores meets all ordinance requirements, and staff recommends approval. Take any questions.
If there are no questions, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Madam Chair, I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Hoag, second by Commissioner Lubke. All those in favor?
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag? Commissioner Franzine?
Aye.
All right, thank you. The fourth request, we're getting close, getting me out of here for you guys. The fourth request this evening is to review the preliminary plat of Somerset Park. The property is in Section 23 of Ideal Township. The parcel identification number 68230626. This request is for 6 individual lots with one outlot. The Planning Commission Board of Adjustment met November 16th. After considering the application and the comments, made a unanimous recommendation to recommend to the county board approval. Staff has also reviewed this file and recommends approval as well. I do want to, we had one comment on this plat that I would like to point out. The owner, there is a house down below this plat, so there's a Somerset Road that runs here, which is an easement to a property south of this. They were of the belief that was their easement, which they have that right. This plat, however, the owner of this land actually owns the land which the easement is on, which they can use the easement to in our research. So I just wanted to point that out in case you've had any contact or questions on that. So with that, I would take any further questions.
If there's no questions, can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I think the gentleman sitting there maybe has a question. I don't know if we're open to that or not. That'd be your choice.
Yeah, I will allow it.
Okay. Did you want to speak to that, sir?
Please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the records.
Madam Chair, this is also the handout that I left on the dais for you.
Oh, this, okay.
Lee Miller, 10433 County Road 16, Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. I don't know how this has all worked, but I gave you all a sheet of this from the beginning, 1959. That is an easement for me to get to my property. It's all right there. That's why I gave you all, because it's blurry, and I know if you blew it up, you wouldn't read it. So if you read it, if somebody wants to take that away from me, it's going to be a nasty lawsuit. That is, look at that. It doesn't say for anybody else's use whatsoever. For egress and egret to that property down there, out to County Road 16. And if you want to give him the right to use that, I would suggest he put in his own road and not take mine away. And this thing at 10 foot apart, houses with travel trailers living in them. When that was zoned a year ago, it was supposed to be 2.5, 5 acres. The back thing with that arc going through it, last year, planning and zone told me that was too low to build on. 1.5 houses going through it. To kind of fudge that over, I just say it like it is. The planning and zoning, out on the road, there is a sectional survey marker. That's, if you know what that is, it's a big 6-inch, okay, I don't know what anybody knows about that. He pulled the stake out of that and put it over on the corner of his property. It has a sign on it, do not tamper. So I came in with the proof of it, and the Dan at the planning and zoning said, it was all right to move that, that had no purpose. So I went to the survey crew, I was out there with them. They were pretty mad at that, taking that down and re-put it in. They had to go a mile away to prove where that pin was. So he doesn't want that there because that pin would go through a driveway he wants to put it, gonna have to put in there. So I don't care how it gets done. My son was mad at me because how we do things, let it get done and then take the road away. That's how I do it. So, do what you want.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, the area in dispute, this is County Road 16. So this new development would come off of 16 and down Somerset to this driveway here, where they would use their own road to access each individual house. They said easement is here. And our understanding today is, of course, he has an easement to get to his property, but the people that own that land can use their property too. That's what it boils down to. So it's kind of that understanding on who gets to use what. But it would only be the start of the road here where they'll turn into the houses, and then they'll be on this new Somerset Court, basically a driveway for all the new homes.
Madam Chair. Gary, so when that easement, whenever that easement was put in, that easement was put across property, and that easement is an easement on that property, and so when that gentleman, whoever owns that other property there, it shows on that deed that there is an easement on his property,
That is correct.
and that easement is still staying there. There's no easement going away.
Yeah, we're not proposing that we take an easement away or somebody's access to their property.
But the easement is actually on this gentleman is it Finn?
Yes,
And the easement is actually on Finn's property.
correct.
So it's an easement over the top of Finn's property already. Okay.
Correct.
Madam Chair, gentleman in the back.
Would you like to come forward and name and address for the records, please?
Dan Finn. I live at 7272 Fairway Lane in Breezy Point. I'm the agent for my wife for this property development. I just wanted to point out two things. There was some questions about that easement when we bought the land that had to do with another aspect of an easement that Mr. Miller believed that he owned. And so we re-signed again with his attorney that he definitely has the easement. Nothing's being taken away. And I believe that the easement also is available to the property to the right, to Broman's. I think they also have easement on our road to get to their property. So just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Coring?
Madam Chair, to Gary. Gary, did you have Stephanie or Don review this?
I believe so. I got the note from Chris that we reviewed it, so I didn't get the name on who reviewed it.
Oh, okay.
Don, do you know if it was?
I did not review it, and I don't know if Steph did or not, sorry. I would assume if
Yeah, I
Chris
can't
put that
say
note that she
100%.
did.
I don't know for sure.
Okay, thank you. Well,
Madam Chair, I guess Madam Chair, just a question for Don. Do you think we should move forward with this, being that this gentleman is, threatened legal action? Should we review it some more and come back next board meeting, or what's your recommendation? Anything?
Commissioner Coyne, I don't know that I have enough information to answer that question one way or the other. If it's been
Okay.
vetted through Land Services, and it seems like Mr. Miller's, or Mr. Hale, excuse me, easement is going to be maintained, I don't see any reason why you would have to delay. If you wish, I can certainly step out and see if I can call anybody, but I don't know that I'd be able to get a concrete sequential answer for you tonight.
All right, thank you.
okay, any other questions? How do we want to proceed?
Madam Chair, if there's no other questions, I would make the motion to approve this based on the findings of fact during the meetings that Land Services held regarding it.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Hoag. All those in favor?
Commissioner Lubke,
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag,
Aye.
Commissioner Coring,
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. And just, this was a preliminary, so if the final does come back, we'll ensure that we have a
All right.
more clear answer for you on that question.
Good.
Thank
We
you.
wouldn't want to take any easement away from the
Correct.
gentleman.
That- I know that
Want
was
to make
not the
sure-
intent.
Right, and I know that's not the intent, and looking at everything I've looked at here from the certified surveyor's drawing, it doesn't, it definitely clearly states there is an easement there,
Yeah.
and nothing's being taken away.
The fifth and final request of the evening is to review a preliminary plat of Scott's Way. This parcel required a plat because it's a riparian. We just want to point out that kind of swampy area on the plat is an actual unnamed, defined DNR public water. So technically it's on the lake, so it required a plat in case anyone was kind of wondering, well, where's the lake? And this isn't a minor admin subdivision. The property is in Section 17, Mission Township. PID number is 77170552. The request is for 2 lots. Mission Township approved this plat before it was considered by the Planning Commission Board of Adjustment in accordance with the Mission Subdivision Ordinance. The Planning Commission Board of Adjustment did approve. This one's a little interesting because it was approved, they approved the variance on the southerly lot because it didn't meet the minimum buildable area. It has the acreage, but if you see on the southerly lot, this is kind of the buildable area here. This is all lowland, kind of marsh in the back. So a variance was needed to be approved for 29,526 square feet, where 40,000 square feet is required. At the November 16th Planning Commission Board of Adjustment meeting, it was a 3-2 vote to recommend approval to the county board based on the findings of fact. Staff has reviewed the file and as well are recommending approval.
Any questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hoag, second by Commissioner Barrows. All those in favor?
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Administrative Services, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My one agenda item this evening is to decide who gets to be the appointees to the County Canvassing Board for the 3 elections that are coming up in the 2024 election cycle. We have the presidential nomination primary that is being held on March 5th. We have the statewide primary election in August, and the state general election will be on November 5th. As you recall, there are 2 county commissioners who are required to be on the county canvassing board, in addition to myself, the district court administrator, and the mayor of the largest municipality in the county. So the mayor of Brainerd is also on the canvass board. The only requirement is that the county commissioners who are on the canvass board are not commissioners who are on the ballot in that particular election itself. So with 3 opportunities coming up in 2024, there's ample opportunity for multiple commissioners to serve on the canvass board if they would like to do so, or if you would like to have the same 2 folks be on all 3 canvass boards, that's fine as well. So it is up to your discretion. The canvass board meetings will be on March 7th, August 15th, and November 13th.
Madam Chair, I would be available for all 3 if you so desire.
All right, are there any other volunteers?
Madam Chair, since I've never served on a canvassing board, I would like to try it, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
All right. Well, it appears we have our 2 volunteers.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We do need a motion on that, though, please, I believe.
Okay,
No?
Well, you have on here the chair to appoint.
Oh,
but-
chair to appoint, even better yet. Thank
you
you.
are appointed.
Oh, okay, thank you, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you.
Madam Chair, before Deb leaves, Deb, before you leave, you know, I did get an email today, the resolution from the city of Cross Lake. Is the mayor there to present that resolution to the county board? When will when would we take that up? Right now? Madam Chair?
I don't see it on the agenda.
The agenda, so when would we take that up? Tim? Don?
Madam Chair, members, this is the closest item on your agenda to this, and so I think the mayor is looking to present you something. I don't think there's a request for action today, and so I think this is probably the most appropriate point on your agenda. It's not a request for action, I don't believe.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
At our meeting, should I go ahead, Dave Nevin, 38720 South Landing, Cross Lake? At our regular council meeting last night, some citizens brought forward this resolution that they would like to do the canvassing in-house up there. So the council, and I'm not sure if it was unanimous or 4-1, approved it. And so, Deb, can I give that to you?
Absolutely.
That is the resolution 23-29, I believe it is. And I think the deadline is tomorrow.
So, Madam Chair, if I may, Mayor Nevin, I haven't had a chance to talk to you
Correct.
about this. I'm going to address the board, but
Okay.
I'm addressing you as well.
Okay.
There is really no action that the county board has to take with regard to this. What the resolution that the mayor is referring to is action that the Cross Lake is choosing to do the absentee ballot administration for residents in the city of Cross Lake. There are a couple of things that I have asked the Secretary of State to weigh in on this. Currently, in Crow Wing County, we do not have any municipalities who do their own absentee ballot administration. The county has taken on that responsibility because of the fact that for federal, state, and county elections, the county is the one that is statutorily responsible for administering absentee voting, with the exception of if they choose to delegate that responsibility to a municipality, or if you have a city or township who has noted their intention of wanting to do their own administration. Now, when I say wanting to do their own administration, there are a couple of things that need to be put into context with this. This is only for the state, federal elections or for the municipal elections. Well, in this particular case with Cross Lake, they hold their municipal elections in conjunction with state, federal, and county elections. So we're looking at all the elections in an even year. But because of the fact that they are being held with state, county, and federal elections, there are some requirements that are going to be at play regardless of which entity is administering these absentee ballots. The date that you were talking about, the designation for the presidential primary, the PNP election in March, you actually had to provide notice to we had to provide notice to the Secretary of State's office 14 weeks prior to the election of where any absentee voting locations were going to be for the PNP election. That deadline was December 6th for the March 5th election. So there is no time to put this resolution. This resolution would not go into play until after the presidential nomination primary. In order for the city to take on doing their own elections administration for absentee voting, they will have to get authorization from the Secretary of State, basically approval that says that they have met the technical requirements for accessing the statewide voter registration system. The absentee voter administration guide, which I did forward on to the city clerk today after I received the designation resolution, I did give them a copy of that absentee voting administration guide so that they can start providing what's necessary for those requirements for technology. There's a whole page basically of things that they have to be certified to be able to do to administer statewide voter registration system, and because again it's a state, federal, county election, they are going to be required to utilize SVRS system to do absentee voting. Additionally, the Secretary of State's office also has to provide certification that they have received or that they have trained the clerk and staff in Cross Lake to utilize SVRS before they can begin that administration. They will have to offer absentee voting to any residents of the city of Cross Lake for the full 47-day election absentee voting period. However, because it is a county, federal, state election, any Cross Lake resident who comes to the Crow Wing County Courthouse to vote by absentee ballot will also be served by us as well. We cannot tell folks that we cannot help them here, that they have to go to Cross Lake. So those residents in Cross Lake would have that opportunity to either go to Cross Lake City Hall or to come here. Finally, the other thing I just wanted to mention, and I did share with the clerk and the administrator that once the things have all been put into place, that we would be able to meet and kind of go over what the process looks like. How do we get them started? What do they need to do? I would suggest that they have their city attorney take a look at what those needs are, what the provisions are in statute, because there were a lot of election changes in the 2023 legislative session. Several of them have to do with absentee voting administration, namely around additional hours that locations that do absentee voting must be open. As I mentioned to you all before, we're going to be charged with the additional cost and charge of being open 2 Saturdays before the election, the Sunday before the election, the Tuesday evening before the election. Those same requirements and laws would also apply to the city of Cross Lake as well. So while the county has no authority to say yes or no, you guys have no action that is being required here. And our office will be ready to assist Cross Lake as soon as they are ready to take these steps. Basically, we've now notified the Secretary of State's office that we received this notice, and now the city will need to work with the Secretary of State's office to get the technical aspects ready for SVRS, and then we can move forward with that.
Madam Chair, if I
Madam
might
Chair.
ask, Debbie, the cost that goes with that, those extra hours and that would be on the Cross Lake?
Madam Chair, that would be the responsibility of the city of Cross Lake, anything that is not done here, because we're already going to be absorbing the costs that we have, but those extra costs for the city to delegate, because it's their intention, you as the county board are not delegating them to do so, they're asking to do it, so that would be their cost.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I guess that was my first question, and I guess my head is just swimming with multiple questions, but I guess I can't really put one together right now. I guess we'll just help, the county will just help them, assist them in moving forward with this process, right, Deb?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Coring, absolutely. We will assist them in whatever is necessary. Because it is a state, federal, county election, federal law requires that there is accessible voting equipment available in every polling place, including absentee locations. So there is no option or opportunity for the city to not use voting technology for absentee voting, if that was part of the conversation or the question as well. There's still going to need to be an assistive voting technology device in the polling place. And because absentee ballots have been, for the city of Cross Lake, counted by vote tabulating equipment in past elections, it is also going to be required in this elections coming up that they do have to be counted with absentee voting tabulation technology as well. So we will assist them.
Madam Chair,
we will assist them in getting whatever necessary needs they have for technology, for that piece of it, and voting equipment, as well as the supplies they'll need for envelopes, and go through that process of what they'll need to know about staffing and ballot board processes as well.
Madam Chair, if I may ask another question of Deb. So if this becomes a domino effect, which I mean, if Pequot Lakes or Brainerd or Baxter, or let's say I live in Long Lake Township. So if Long Lake Township says, we wanna do ours, who can do it and who can't do it? Can you just explain that to me?
According to statute, what the statute says is any municipality that has a full-time clerk. So that's really the only caveat that's listed in the statute, is that the authority for absentee ballot administration can be delegated to a municipality with a full-time clerk, or any municipality that has a full-time clerk can choose to basically petition to be able to do absentee voting, or notice of intent for absentee voting. But they have to have a full-time municipal clerk, is what it states in statute.
So then just one other question related to the cost. Now, if Cross Lake is going to do this, they're bearing the responsibility of the cost, where if the county's doing it, we bear the cost of everything. So not that I'm not advocating this, but by statute, are we able to bill back for the cost of the election to any municipalities? Or it's just kind of a dumb question in my head, but.
So, Madam Chair, Commissioner Coring.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. There is actually a statutory formula for municipalities that have their election at the same time as a state, federal, county election. So when we talk about the even year general election ballot, any municipalities or school districts that hold their election in that same cycle, there is a statutory formula that kind of calculates the number of inches on the ballot, the costs that are associated, and there is a formula that we could calculate it out and figure out what the cost would be to each municipality for their portion of the space on the ballot that they are absorbing. In Crow Wing County, we have chosen not to do that. You have not directed us to do that. We have taken the position that it's going to be taxpayer dollars, regardless if it's coming from the county level or the municipal level. And because we have the staff and the expertise of being able to run the election, there is no real benefit for us to charge back to those municipalities.
Yeah. Madam Chair, if I could just ask one more question, Deb, you know, I always, when you get here, I love to ask a
Stump the
million
dummy.
questions.
I love stump the dummy.
I know. But the bad thing is I can never stump you. So, but my question is and you can give me a general number. So like this presidential election coming up, what's the cost going to be to Crow Wing County as a whole?
So typically,
cost.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Coring, typically, we've said it costs us about $250,000 for each election cycle. Now, given next year in 2024 has 3 elections, it's actually going to be a little bit more than that. If you recall, we've had some conversation in the past that we do get some reimbursement from the state for the presidential nomination primary. Presidential nomination primary is not fully refunded from the state. And this is a little bit of heartache that I continue to have, and I continue to bring this up whenever I'm visiting with the legislature about the fact that the citizens of Crow Wing County are footing the bill for a political party exercise when we are doing the presidential nomination primary in March. There's not a county election that is happening. This is a popularity contest for the political parties. And when this law was put into place following the 2016 election, the whole intent at the time, in fact, Senator Kiffmeyer said it, this should not be at the local residents' expense. This should be at the state expense. However, the reimbursement formula that is currently in statute does not fully cover the costs that are associated with the PNP election. And we continue to bring that message back to the legislature every year as well. One of the things, if you also recall, that the legislature did do in this last session is to select the voter funds, the Voting Operations Technology Resources Fund. That fund did dedicate some dollars out to the counties and municipalities to assist in elections administration. I just said our cost is about $250,000 for each election cycle, and we got $15,600.52 for Crow Wing County. That does not cover a significant amount of our costs at all. One thing I found that was interesting was the city of East Grand Forks. Recently, actually, I think it was in today's election line, I get a newsletter email alert thing, and it was saying in East Grand Forks, they were talking about the fact that they previously have been, for a number of years, doing their local absentee ballot administration. Gives those voters in that city the opportunity to come to them and vote by absentee ballot at their location. That has cost them right around $4,000 to $5,000 every election, they figure, with needing to bring in staff, election judges, some of the other criteria that is required as well. New law that was passed in 2023 that is going to go into effect once the Secretary of State has certified that SVRS can handle early voting. Early voting is when a voter can walk into a polling place and place their ballot directly into the vote tabulator. That's going to be expanded to be 18 days before Election Day. And any municipality that is offering absentee voting will not have the ability to say no to that. They will be required to do early voting. With all of those extra hours that we talked about, East Grand Forks figures that their cost is going to probably go up to $12,000 to $15,000 versus the $4,000 to $5,000 that they were previously paying. So the costs continue to go up. We continue to see our costs go up from the standpoint of consumable materials, but namely around staffing is what our continued increased costs are going up because of all the expanded hours and requirements. With the 18 days of direct voting, I'm on my soapbox a little bit, but since nobody from the legislature is here, I hope y'all can carry this message to them because this is also what we tried to say. With the 18 days of direct balloting and all these extra hours that we have to be open for folks to come in and vote prior to Election Day, we still have to get the work done for the ones who want to vote in the polling place on Election Day. This is going to end up costing us a lot of overtime and a lot of temporary staff in the elections realm once we have to use those hours on the Saturdays and the Sundays that we were typically working. Now we're going to have to be open and serving customers. We're going to have additional hours and extra folks to help get the work done that needs to be done as well.
So, Madam Chair, what I would say is understand that there are provisions in law for cities to make a choice. We follow the law. That's what it boils down to, and we're going to continue to follow the law. And so as long as the city of Cross Lake can meet the standards of the Secretary of State's office, there's no decision point for us.
Right.
And so then it's like, well, okay, they get to make their choice. We're going to help them to the best of our ability.
Yep.
They have to meet the standards of the Secretary of State's office, right?
Yeah.
Once they do that, it's their choice. It's not ours.
There you go. More power to you.
Madam Chair, so, but they've missed the window to do the PNP in March.
Madam Chair, that is correct. 14 weeks is the deadline for the change or notification to the Secretary of State's office of where absentee ballot locations will be for the PNP in March. That was December 6th. My office notified the Secretary of State's office that all absentee voting would be going through the county office because we didn't know anything different at that point. So this is now, which is actually okay, because as I said, there are a lot of things that are gonna have to be figured out in order for when Cross Lake is ready to start their own administration. So this gives a little bit more time, because now instead of having to be ready January 29th, when the voting starts for the PNP election, they will have to be ready for when it starts in July.
Madam Chair, if I might follow up on a question or a point that Commissioner Coring made. Have we ever had a request like this before?
Madam Chair, in my tenure, we have not.
We have not. So my issue is the cost that goes with that, and if, as Commissioner Coring said, it becomes a domino effect, it just gets broader and broader or more expensive. I think as a board, we need to take a look at how we're going to handle this going forward, and will we bill back? You're saying we don't do that currently, but we can do that, and that we need to
That is
take
correct.
a look at that because of the additional expense that may be put upon us. And, you know, if they want to run their own, they have to accept that financial issue themselves. So just a word to the rest of the board members.
And I do just want to add, Madam Chair, if I may, one more thing. If the city of Cross Lake, or any city for that matter, who is currently on an even year election cycle, would like to run their municipal elections, their city or their township elections, in a cycle that is different than the state general election. So say they want to run their elections in the odd year. There is a provision in statute that allows for that and would give full authority for all of elections administration to that municipality to run their election however they want to do so at that point in time. They just wouldn't have any offices on the ballot in the even year. They would have an election every year. There are still federal laws that have to be followed with regard to the type of ballot that has to be used and accessible voting equipment, because they are larger than 500. But we still have a number of townships who choose to have their township election in March every year. Cities have the opportunity, if they wish to, they can have their municipal elections in the odd year and run their own election that way also. So there are some options that they can take a look at that way also. But when they're held in conjunction with state, federal, and county elections, that law governs in that election hierarchy over that other parts.
And what I would just ask.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Croring.
Madam Chair, just if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, I guess just a question as I sit here and kind of all this thoughts are rolling through my head. I guess my question to you is, does the City Council of Cross Lake think that the county board, or not the county board, but the county is doing something wrong election-wise? If we are, I guess I'd like to hear it.
Commissioner Coring, not in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
I think it's just some private citizens who want to just take it back and manage it, you know? We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. Their desire to get involved and to do it, you know, moves me to come here and push it forward for them.
And what I would just ask, that any jurisdiction that is considering this, when one jurisdiction pulls out of the hours that we're obligated to hold open, it does not change our costs for staying open those hours. We don't have resources we're going to share. If anybody thinks that we have resources we're going to share to do an election, no, I need you to know that going in.
Yeah, no, we understand that fully.
Well, beyond that, there's a process in law, there's a process with the Secretary of State's office. That's what we're going to go do.
Yep.
So, Madam Chair and Commissioners, I want to thank you for taking the time to discuss this, and we'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good
much.
luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, while we were discussing that, Teresa had the time to go back and look in our previous board minutes. We have had motions to approve the canvas board. Given that history, I'm going to suggest that you do it in motion form instead of just the chair appointing. It was Commissioner Barrows and Commissioner Lubke. A motion would be in order to do that.
Madam Chair, I would so move that the county board appoint Commissioner Barrows and Commissioner Lubke to the canvassing board for the entire year of 2023.
Or,
How about 24? Can we try 24, Paul?
2024, okay.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. Motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Hoag. All those in favor?
Commissioner Hoag? Aye. Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Okay, you are up.
Just quick, I want to make sure that we're on time for the budget presentation. At the last county board meeting, Madam Chair and Commissioners, at the last county board meeting at open forum, a gentleman that lived at the intersection of State Highway 6 and CASA 30 north of Crosby came forward and was asking for some changes to the rumble strips that we had put in near his home. And at that meeting, I got some direction to move forward with addressing the rumble strips and then also bringing back some ideas of how to do a more long-term solution. And I'm here today to just give you a quick update about that. So last week, we had a nice window, a very small window of decent weather to go out there and actually fill in those rumble strips in 4 locations, both on the east and west side of Trunk Highway 6. Here's a picture of it. I just want to remind you that it is winter, and we were very lucky to be able to get out there in any form. We leveraged a partnership we had with Anderson Brothers to rent a piece of equipment they had that can heat up this material and put it in. We did it in an afternoon, and it is it is filled them in, and it is quieter. It is not silent. And it's not silent, and it's almost probably be impossible to make them silent. One of the challenges with this, we had to make sure that it's flush with the pavement because our snowplows will pick it right up. So it has to be at grade or below grade. That, again, they are still produce noise, and they also, to the outside and the residents around, can maybe hear them. But they also are providing that level of public safety to the drivers because you can feel them and hear them in your vehicle. So we did that. It's the thing we can do in the middle of winter, and they are much more quieter, much more quiet.
They're a mumble strip now, right?
They're a mumble strip.
Okay.
You also asked me to look into the long-term solutions, and we talked a little bit about blinking stop signs and some other options that we have, primarily focused on the blinking stop signs. And we did a little, Rob Hall did some costing of that, and I stand corrected. I said $5,000 per sign, and it's $5,000 per intersection to provide 2 solar-powered blinking LED stop signs at those locations. Rob was able to do some coordination and conversations with MnDOT, and they're willing to have those in their right-of-way. It would be at our cost. One of the things that came up was we were concerned that the blinking stop signs may conflict with the system that's out there right now, the RCWA system, the Rural Intersection Conflict Warning System. So a portion of that would have to be taken out too, and they're willing to do that too. So we stand ready to do that later, probably into next spring, to order the materials and get some of the weather to cooperate with that type of project. And if you authorize me, we will move forward with that and continue to just have the rumble strips the way they are. So that's my update, and I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Commissioner.
Commissioner Holt, what do you think? This is your district. I guess I'd like to have your feedback, and then we can give him direction if you want or if you're ready.
Well, my question was going to be, what kind of time do you need to, I mean, if they're not gonna do them till spring, you said?
Well, that might be our first opportunity. We have to order materials and things like that. They have to be able to remove the system that's out there. Maybe it's presumptuous that we have to wait. We can look into doing them as soon as we can. I assumed it would be spring. Maybe I'm incorrect.
Are you looking at 10,000 total or 5,000?
5,000 total, so 2,500 on either side. We did determine that we would do them with solar, so the extra costs associated with running power are hardwired. We would not incur. We've been having some good luck with the solar-powered ones and feel that those will work there.
Well, my thought would be to move forward with that. I know that we have talked about some potential improvements, 28, 29. And if that does happen, are these able to be removed and placed somewhere else if we find that they're not needed after those improvements?
Yes, and we actually have a history of that. The roundabout that we placed south of Cross Lake used to have blinking stop signs, and then we salvaged those and reutilized them down at the intersection of State Highway 25 and CSAH 2 south of town. And that was something that you were involved with approvals on. So it's 28, 29, is 5 or 6 years away maybe for a long-term improvement, and the technology hopefully will still be good to reutilize somewhere else.
Well, I think this would
Madam Chair.
bridge a gap of safety concerns. That is a busy intersection, so.
Madam Chair, if I might,
Madam-
Tim, does the research bear out that one is better than the other, the rumble strips versus the blinkers?
Ooh, I'm not prepared to answer that question. My initial thought, and I could go back and look at the research, is that something that's you can feel and hear inside the vehicle is going to be more effective than relying on somebody to not be distracted also. You can
Madam
miss the
Chair.
blinking stop sign if you're on your phone. It's hard to miss it if your car is shaking.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Coring?
Madam Chair, this is the Commissioner Barrows down on State Highway 25 and County Road 2. We actually have very, very deep rumble strips and flashing stop signs. 2 people were killed at that intersection, and I think it behooves us to think of the safety now that we've removed the rumble strips, in essence, the heavy, deep rumble strips. If Commissioner Hoag makes a motion to put in these stop signs, I certainly would second that.
Madam Chair, a question. There is a RICA system already on that intersection, or what do you call that, alert system already on that intersection?
Yes, and so that one is, so on the major road, which is the trunk highway, it senses when somebody's at the stop sign and it flashes to alert them that there's a conflict up ahead.
But not on the other way, not on 30, what is it, 32 or whatever that?
It's 30.
30.
In that, the sensors are in the main line that it has a sign that says approaching traffic or something like
But
that.
that's not for somebody coming on 30 and coming up to 6?
Yes, it is.
It is, so there is a warning there.
Both ways.
Both ways.
Correct.
already.
They would remove, because the blinking stop signs may cause confusion. Well, the person sitting or seeing the blinking stop sign and seeing this other thing saying that traffic is approaching. So we felt that it was important to remove the one. Just go with one system and not combine 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many more can you put out there?
Right. They do propose to keep them on the main line. So and the sensors. So if somebody's sitting at the blinking stop sign, the main line trunk highway traffic will still get blinking line.
But the person who went through that intersection, through 30 and through that intersection, had the flashing sign saying warning traffic ahead.
Yes, I'm assuming that it was working.
Working. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no other discussion, I would make the motion to authorize the highway department to move forward with the, what do we call them? Warning.
The blinking,
Yeah.
LED blinking high visibility stop signs.
Those. Yeah.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hoag, second by Commissioner Coring. All those in favor?
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. And we will move forward and do them as soon as we can.
Thank you. Well, it is 6 o'clock, so it's time for our public hearing for the 2024 budget, levy, and CIP.
Madam Chair, I would so move to open the public hearing on the 2024 budget levy and CIP.
Do we have a second?
I will second that, Madam Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Lubke to open the budget hearing. All those in favor?
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag? Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye, motion carries.
Madam Chair, Nancy Malika, our Finance Director, has come forward, and she has a brief presentation for those folks who have come tonight to learn a little bit more about our budget and levy and what's going on with it. So she's going to go through that presentation. Therese, can you pull that up?
Yep.
The first thing is that tonight, what we're going to be talking about is the county's budget and levy. And we'll try to answer any questions that you have about budget and levy, but the other thing that I know a lot of people come here for when we hold this hearing is because they have a question on valuation. And we're not going to talk about valuation today, but we know that people come to us with that question. And so if that is your primary question, Gary is in the back of the room, and we have folks in our assessor's office. And so if your primary issue is about your valuation, welcome you to head out with Gary, and he will try to answer any valuation questions you have. You are also, of course, welcome to spend some time listening to our budget and levy presentation. When we're done with that, we are interested in public comment.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. So we'll get started with the 2024 proposed tax statement. The information presented at tonight's meeting is related to the county's portion of the property tax statement. On the example that's noted on the screen in the lower half section, the area in red shows the information for the county. Any questions that property owners may have relating to their individual entities, whether it be a city or a township or a school district, they would need to attend those meetings to have those questions addressed at those meetings. So we will get started with a 10-year history of the market value and new construction information for Crow Wing County. 2024 is at the bottom of the table, and the total taxable market value is at $18.7 billion. That's an 11% increase from 2023. The total new construction is at $275 million, which is a 28% increase from 2023. The percentage of new construction in relation to the total taxable market value is at 1.47%. Market value by property type is what the next chart is. 2023 is the blue versus 2024 in the orange. And you can see at the bottom, agricultural is the only area that saw a decrease from 2023 to 2024. The other areas, commercial, residential, and seasonal, each saw a minimal increase in those different property types. Next, we have the property tax levy history for a 10-year period. So we're going from 2015 to 2024. So the levy amount that we're presenting tonight is $45,909,662, which is a 3.99% increase from 2023. We're going to look at the county levy funds, which consists of the general fund, the highway fund, the community services fund, and the capital projects fund. Again, the tax levy revenues at the $45.9 million. Other revenue in the budget is at $54.5 million. Expenditures budgeted is $105.8 million. And there will be some fund balance usage in the amount of $5.3 million. That fund balance usage pertains to the Highway Fund, the Community Services Fund, and the Capital Projects Fund. I also wanted to provide a slide on the unorganized territories. Since the county board is the governing body for the first assessment district and the second assessment district. So the first assessment district tax levy revenue that we're presenting is $1,258,993. Other revenue in the FAD is just over $51,000. Expenditures are at $1.2 million. And the fund balance is projected to increase about $78,000. In the second assessment district, that tax levy revenue that we're presenting is at $83,811. Other revenues just over $6,000. Expenditures total $205,000. And SAD will be utilizing a fund balance in 2024 about $115,000. Next, we have some county levy impact examples for some different types of properties within the county. First, we'll start with the Cross Lake seasonal recreational property. That average market value for 2024 is just under $665,000, which is a 15% increase from the average market value in 2023. It shows you the comparison of the county property tax portion between 23 and 24, which is an increase of $143. We also have the Baxter commercial industrial property, which has an average market value in 2024 of $1.1 million, which is a 9% increase over 2023, which brings the county portion of taxes at an increase of $69 from the 2 years. And last but not least, we have the Brainerd residential homestead property, which has an average market value of just over $201,000, which is a 10.3% increase over 2023, which is a dollar amount increase of $10. The organizational chart on the screen just projects the levy funds for you, illustrates those for you. So we have the general fund and the different divisions underneath each area. The Highway Fund, the Community Services Fund, the Capital Projects Fund, which includes our capital improvement plan, and our first and second assessment district funds as well. So this table provides more information on the 2024 levy budgets. So it's broken down by fund, and then the next columns relate to the expenditures. And you can see the columns in blue are the changes from the prior year from 2023. The next set of columns is the revenue, and then the percentage of change from 2023, followed by fund balance increases and decreases, and finally the tax levy amounts, as well as the changes from 2023. So we have all the funds listed there: the general fund, the highway fund, the community services fund, the capital projects fund, and the first and second assessment district funds. Property tax levy by fund. This bar graph just shows you the comparison between 2023 to 2024 for each of those different funds and the percentage increase or decrease. So in the general fund, we're looking at an increase in property tax levy of 9.79%. In the highway fund, there is no change in the property tax levy. The community services fund is actually projecting a decrease in property tax levy of 6.58%. Capital projects fund remains the same. The first assessment district fund is projected to see an increase of 5.88%, and the second assessment district fund an increase of 4.9%. So this pie chart just breaks down the total revenue for 2024, and the budget for levy funds is $101,833,354, and it breaks down the different categories or pieces of the pie for those revenues. Starting out with the property tax levy at 46%, followed by intergovernmental revenue at 35%. Then we go to other taxes and charges for services, and miscellaneous, following up with licenses and permits and investments. On the expenditure side, total expenditures for 2024 equate to $107,261,400. The largest slice of the pie being personnel services at 49%, followed by services and charges at 27%, public aid assistance at 11%, supplies and materials at 6%, followed by capital outlay and other expenditures. Now we will transition to non-levy funds, and it just illustrates for you which funds we are talking about tonight, which are the ditch fund, the solid waste fund, the public land management fund, and the landfill fund. The non-levy budgets are next on the table, similar to the levy budgets, similar information. We have, again, those same funds noted from the previous slide. We have the breakdown of expenditures with the percentage of change from the previous year, same with the revenues, and then any fund balance increases or decreases. And then we'll look at the total revenue for the non-levy funds, which equate to $5,724,835. The largest piece of the pie being charges for services, followed by miscellaneous. Then we have other taxes, licenses and permits, intergovernmental, and finally investments. Non-levy fund expenditures is next with a total of $5,655,441. The largest piece of the expenditure pie is services and charges at 46%, followed by personnel services at 27%, other expenditures at 12%, and then followed by capital outlay and supplies and materials. Next, we'll look at a comparison with our neighboring counties of what our county tax levy is per capita. And you will see that Aiken County is in red, and for a 10-year period. We have Cass County in orange. We have Mille Lacs County in purple, Crow Wing in green, and Morrison County in blue. So as of 2024, taking our tax levy amount, dividing it by our population, we are very close to what Mille Lacs County is. Our per capita is at $663. And then finally, just to follow up and let people know that there are state property tax refunds that might be available to them for them to consider. This information is pulled directly from the Minnesota Department of Revenue's website. So the first one that I found out there is what's called a regular homestead credit refund. And the information on the bullet points as far as the criteria is what was listed on the website at this point in time. So wanted to make property owners aware that these are options out there for them if they meet the criteria. And then there is what's called a special homestead credit refund out there as well with different criteria that individuals may want to look into and reach out to Minnesota Revenue if they have further questions regarding that. And with that, we will open it up for public comment.
All right, is there anyone in the audience who has anything to share? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak?
Madam Chair, if there's,
Sorry, there are several people online. I can't see the other 13 participants, but there might be someone online that wants to speak. Is that what you were going to say, Paul?
no, I was just going to make a motion to close public comment, but good catch, Reese.
Is there anyone online who would like to speak? Anyone online? Is there anyone online who would like to speak? Okay,
Madam Chair, if it doesn't look like anybody's going to speak, so I would move to close the public hearing.
Is there
Second.
a motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Barrows to close the hearing? All those in favor?
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lepke?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye.
Madam Chair, I do have a question now for the county administrator on, as it pertains to the HRA budget and the Housing Trust Fund. Is that's all included in this resolution, I believe?
That is correct. Let me find it for you. It is the last, be it further resolved on the first page of the resolution. And so you could separate that question, if you will. It's that paragraph.
Could you walk me through how we could go ahead and separate that out? I guess I'd like to have a separate vote on that.
So I talked to Commissioner Coring, and he asked for, how would you do that? It was on the agenda this way. So a simple motion is in order, Commissioner Coring, to separate that question, if you wish to.
Okay. Then, Madam Chair, I would move to separate that question, the HRA and the Housing Trust Fund, separate vote on that proposed 24 budget.
Is there a second? Is there a second? I'll pass the gavel to you, and I'll second that motion.
I don't think you need to pass the gavel to me to do that, Madam Chair.
Okay, well,
The chair
I
may
just
make a
want it to
second.
be perfectly legal. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Franzine. All those in favor?
Commissioner Hoag?
What are we?
It was, the request is to
You're
have
voting
a
to separate
separate
that.
vote on the resolution, the portion of the resolution that sets the levy for the HRA.
No.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
No.
Commissioner Barrows?
No.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye. Motion fails.
Madam Chair, enclosed in your packet is a request for board action, and there are a lot of things in the resolution, but it basically accomplishes the budget and the levy that Nancy laid out for you. It also sets the budget and the levy for the unorganized territories, first assessment district, second assessment district. It does set the levy for the HRA. It also certifies the levy for Region 5 Development Commission, which we're required to do. We are also levying for the Cuyuna Range Hospital District as certified by their board in accordance with a different statute. We are also setting the solid waste recycling fee assessment at $25 per household. I believe that is the same.
Yes,
That is not changed.
correct.
And we are levying in the general fund for public library services in accordance with statutes on taxable property. What that basically says is we're not going to tax the residents of the city of Crosby who have their own public library system. And the Board of Commissioners is also adopting the capital improvement plan for 2024, and you're authorizing staff to send out to bid those projects that require bids. You're authorizing staff to move the projects that do not. Madam Chair, I put it forward for the board's consideration.
Madam Chair, I would make the motion to approve the resolution as attached for the 2024 final budget and levy resolution.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Hoag. All those in favor?
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye, motion carries.
Madam Chair, if I might, I would just like to take the opportunity to thank the department heads and everybody that worked diligently to put this budget together. You met our expectations, and I just want you to know how much we appreciate it. We know there's a lot of work, a lot of negotiating, a lot of scratching your heads, and I'm sure there's a lot of erasers that wore out during this process, but thank you very much for everything that you did.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Next on the agenda is the sheriff. Is there someone who would like to speak?
Sheriff didn't have a lot to add, other than we all know the holiday season's coming up shortly. So key is just be safe when traveling on our roads, and when you venture out on the lakes, make sure you're aware of the thickness of the ice. If you have any questions of me, free to answer.
Any questions?
Merry Christmas to you and your staff.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, thank you. County Attorney.
I have nothing to report tonight, Madam Chairman, but I would be happy to answer any questions anybody may have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
County Administrator.
Madam Chair, members of the board, yesterday there was a senior management team meeting and I wasn't there. So Kara ran the meeting for me. I asked her to run the meeting, and so she is going to give you the update.
Kara Terry, Community Services, Madam Chair, County Board, the senior management team update tonight. We discussed the continuous quality improvement team, and they gave us an update, they being Jory and Tammy. We discussed the existing projects that are out there, any pending projects that are in the pipeline. We also talked about potentially another round of green belt and black belt training, and then recruiting other participants to be a part of the continuous improvement team. Currently, Tammy and Jory are the only 2 black belts, and they're trying to run all of that work, and it's quite a lot for them to tackle. In addition to that, we talked about our favorite subject, COVID. Might have said that sarcastically. Testing and masking. Basically, if folks test positive for COVID, they are to isolate for the first 5 days. If they find that they're not having any symptoms after those 5 days and choose to come back to the office, we ask that they mask up for an additional 5 days. We talked about ways that we as management can enforce that, and the expectations in relation to our different departments, including in community services, that if staff test positive, are not symptomatic, and go out to clients' homes within that additional 5-day period, that they will indeed wear masks. We then talked about personnel manual updates. Amy led us through a list of what those updates will be. I will not, sorry, Amy, but bore you with those updates. She will be bringing them forward for your consideration. Amy gave us a labor update as to where we're at with contract negotiations and unions. And then the 5th agenda item was on the agenda, but there wasn't any info to discuss as of yet, so we did not discuss that topic. Any questions?
Any questions?
Okay, thank you
so much.
Madam Chair, members of the board, also enclosed in your packet is a request for board action to make appointments to the Northeast Minnesota Regional Advisory Council. This is the Northeast Regional Radio Board. So they work on Armor radio, 800 megahertz radio for public safety, and also we use the same Armor system for the Highway Department as well. And so we had appointed Jessica Turner as our representative, and at that time we didn't have an emergency operations director. And so we wanted to make sure we weren't missing anything. But now that we do, the request is to appoint the emergency management director Clayton Barg to serve as the delegate, and then Jessica will move back, as well as Scott Heidi, into the position as alternates.
Okay, it says it needs board action, so is there anyone who would like to?
Madam Chair, so moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lubke, second by Commissioner Barrows. All those in favor?
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag? Commissioner Coring?
I saw his
You're
mouth
on mute.
move. You're muted.
Wave, Paul, just
Aye.
wave.
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye, motion carries.
Madam Chair, question from Commissioner Hoag was, am I on that? I'm on the ECB, which is the board. The RAC is a different
An
group of
advisory
people.
committee to that board.
Right. So just for clarification.
Madam Chair, members of the board, also enclosed in your packet is the annual ritual of citizen committee appointments. And so Teresa's put the first draft in the packet, and it shows you which ones are, when their terms expire. If they're eligible for reappointment, it'll show a new term date for them. And so typically, we ask that you reach out to these folks, see if they would be interested in serving for another term. And if they do, bring them back here. Many of these are the chair appointments, which, you know, we do very quickly and easily. Some of them may require a board action, and if it does, we do. So this is the start of that annual process.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Coring.
I did email Therese, and I did reach out to Sue Maskey, who's on the Planning and Zoning Commission representing myself, and she did agree to serve another term. So I would like the chair to appoint her. And then Therese, I did call Kathy Edelman, her term is up on the Extension Committee, and I sent her an email, no response, and the phone number you gave me was disconnected. So I need to try to figure out
We'll try to get you better contact info.
Okay. So.
Sorry.
And I'm working on the rest, so thanks.
Okay, has anybody else?
Madam Chair,
Madam Chair, I did talk to Michael Morford tonight or this afternoon, and he would like to serve again. I had a nice chat with him.
Madam Chair, my appointee to the Extension Committee, Donna McAnally, has chosen not to re-up, so I will be looking for a new person for that position.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I do have a question. Commissioner Lubke, the Mulfort, how do you say the name?
Morford.
Morford. And what would that position be for?
That was Crow Wing County HRA.
Yeah, I think that takes a motion on that, and the other ones
Okay,
can.
I just wanted to make you aware of the fact
Yeah.
that he's choosing to
Yeah.
serve since he's done at the end of the year.
Sure, and the other ones, I think the chair could just make those appointments.
That is correct.
Madam Chair, I did reach out to Bob Scharnbrock on the Raleigh Johnson Natural and Recreational Area Joint Powers Board, and he is willing to serve another year on that.
Okay.
And then I did reach out to both, for the Serpent Lake Sanitary Sewer District, to that board, and the cities, it's Cuyuna and Ironton, have not made those appointments yet. So that's on hold. And then I have, our HR manager is reaching out to the Personnel Board of Appeals appointee. So those are, the only one out of the at-large then would be Bob Scharnbrock I think that's how you say it.
Sharon Brock.
Sharon Brock.
Well, that's it.
He's from St. Cloud, you know the name.
So it looks like you would just have the one from District 1 for Susan Maskey for Planning Commission, and Bob for the Raleigh Johnson that you would appoint, and then we would have to do a separate motion on Michael Morford for the HRA.
Okay, we'll make the appointments for Sue Maskey and Bob Sharon Brock.
And then, Madam Chair, a motion would be in order to appoint.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion
reappoint
to approve Michael Morford for District 2, Crow Wing County HRA.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lubke, second by Commissioner Barrows for Mike Morford for County Commissioner District, or for Crow Wing County HRA District 2. All those in favor?
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag? Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, before we move on, could I ask a question?
Of
Or
course.
it's not really a question, it's to Dr. Hool, or Administrator Hool, I should say. I guess at some point next year, I'd like to have a discussion have the county board have a discussion about our appointees. I think it's getting more and more difficult to find somebody to serve on these different committees. Let's say, for example, planning and zoning. I was very happy that Sue agreed to serve another time on there, but I think we should, if we're not bound by statute, I think we need to have the conversation if we can, if there's somebody else that's not in our commissioner district and could serve in these different capacities. I think we need to have that conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's going a different direction than I thought you were going.
You know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I think I do. And what I would tell you is there probably are advisory committees that we have that may not be required by statute, and we can find out about that. If there is a requirement in statute, then the statute sometimes will guide you on whether or not there is a residency requirement for that particular seat. Some of them there are, where they will say, it has to be an appointee from the commissioner district. Others are a little more silent, and I don't think we've ever contemplated that you would consider someone from a different district as your appointee. So we can do some research for you on our standing committees and what the law does and doesn't allow us to do, and our
Well, I
policy
think,
as well.
and I guess I think at some point, if we could have a conversation somewhere, the county board, to see what the rest of the commissioners think, but, you know, I take Doug, for example, you know, if I'm just picking on you, if your appointee on the planning commission, you know, is not going to serve anymore, and it gets hard to find somebody from your district, I think we need to have the ability to reach out further than that. I think, anyway. I'd just like to have a conversation about that, see what the rest of the board thinks. I think we should, if we have the ability to do that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any additional business?
Madam Chair
Yes?
and Mr. Hool, would you like to talk about that one?
Yes. Madam Chair, last week, we adopted the county board calendar, and I said that anything on that calendar, we publish that, that's a regular meeting. We discovered prior board action, this is from back in 2014, that approved setting the date for the County Board of Appeal and Equalization for the first Monday after the second Friday in June at 2 p.m. in perpetuity. So I needed to let you know, we added that to the calendar, and it got published with the calendar. So I didn't want you to see that and say, what the heck, that's a bait and switch. It was based on action from a previous county board that we continue to implement until told differently. Okay?
Sounds
Just
We
wanted to
don't
let
want a
you know.
motion for that at all, like we did last time?
It would, well, there is already board action, so I don't think you need a motion, because there is already board action that specifies that's what it is.
Madam
We're
Chair,
just catching up from 2014.
Madam Chair, Dr. Hool, if we wanted to change that, we could.
Yes.
We just would have to make sure we do it ahead of time.
That is correct, and it's not too late if you wish to do it a different time, but I just, Therese discovered that that action's already done, so we just plugged it into the calendar.
Are we sure that's not something that's required at the state level?
There are some state requirements, and
I think that's where the language
Yes.
came from, that it has to be the
Yes.
second after the
because
first
it's very
Friday.
strange. It's very strange language, so I'm sure it came from statute. And if statute changes, well, then we got to modify it.
Yep.
So I just wanted you to know that there's an additional date that's going to pop on that calendar that you had not previously seen, and so I wanted you to be aware.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything else?
We do still have our closed session, so if there's any additional business, that's all.
Any additional business before we go to closed? Seeing none, do we have a motion to go to closed session?
Madam Chair, I'd make the motion to adjourn to the closed session.
Madam Chair, I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Lubke. All those in favor?
Commissioner Hoag?
Say
Commissioner
aye.
Hoag?
Just say aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye.
And if you can give us just a brief recess, Madam
Dream. Pause. Okay.
All right.
And do you want to be on the PowerPoint, or otherwise I have it in front of me?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Coring?
Madam Chair, weren't we going to make sure we get the right statute taken care of right away?
Yes, and in fact.
I think we neglected to do that at the.
No, we did not. Therese announced the statute when we started. So right after the recording started, she did announce the statute.
I don't know that she did.
I don't think I did.
I
We
heard
just
you.
talked about it.
You read it, 13OD, .05.
No.
.03.
That was in closed session, but doesn't it have to be an open session too? I mean,
Well, we can do it right now.
Well,
Well,
the statute is Minnesota Statute 13D03 Subdivision 1B.
Perfect.
Perfect. Just want to make sure nobody gets mad.
And so, good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I'm here this evening, I keep wanting to say morning, to present to you a contract settlement with IUOE, the Highway Department. It represents 27 of our employees, including the engineering staff and the highway maintenance staff as well. They are on our market-aligned pay plan with 100% application of our pay matrix. The settlement provides the matrix moving to 90% of the metro in 2024 and increasing the ranges by 2.5%, increasing the ranges by 2.5% again in 2025 and by 3% in 2026. This group is on the county insurance plans, and some of the key recognitions of the contract settlement agreement include adding Juneteenth as a paid holiday, making Christmas Eve a full paid holiday, increasing the contributions to the healthcare savings plan from $25 per month to $35 per month, including the bereavement, the definition of family member for bereavement leave to include the life partner, a deferred comp match up to $50 per month. The comp time accrual at any one time will be increased from 40 hours to 60 hours. The ability for the employer to utilize the full PTO accrual table when making an offer for someone to begin employment at the county. Providing up to $200 for replacement of safety boots every 5 years for the maintenance staff. And this will be a 3-year contract, and we continue to clean up language contract as well as adjusting our PTO language to ensure it's in compliance with the new employee sick and safe time that goes into effect January 1st of 2024. Okay, thank you, Therese. The wage settlement, in 2023, a 2% additional in-range movement for staff. In 2024, the 2% additional movement within the range, and also 2025, a 2% movement within the range. If there are no questions, I am looking for a motion to authorize entering into an agreement between Crow Wing County and IUOE Local 49, representing engineering and maintenance employees of the Highway Department, effective January 1, 2024 through January 31, 2026, and the chair, HR manager, and county administrator are authorized to sign said agreement.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Hoag. All those in favor?
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay,
That is all we have for you.
do we have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, I'd like to motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, one more thing, if I may, it's National Gingerbread House Day today. I think Commissioner Barrow forgot that, so I just want to point that out. December 12th.
Madam Chair, I will restate again, I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lubke, second by Commissioner Coring. All those in favor?
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag? Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubke?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye, motion